Alrighty, hi. This is Kyle, Josh, and Turnus for C3. We just got done seeing The Killing Joke, a special Phantom event that I think cities around us, they had it. Someone said they watched it on Sunday. This is the first day it's played in our city. And I think we're going to start off with Turnus, because I feel that he has the most to say on the subject. And I don't want to sway his opinion with anything that I say.
My opinion cannot be swayed.
Okay. That's good.
Set.
Go for it.
Okay, so overall, if I had to rate this, The Killing Joke, the animated special, I'd say probably easy 8 or 9 out of 10. Possibly even a 10. I don't know what all I would change about the Killing Joke material, except for the not Killing Joke material that was in the Killing Joke. So basically, spoilers. The whole special starts off with
Wait,
a hat.
I'm sorry, one second, real quick. What would you rate it, just real quick before we jump into spoilers so that people can see? What was your opinion?
I don't say this very often, but I gotta give it a 10. I don't know what I would have changed. I don't think anything could be changed. I think that was the animated Batman special that I was waiting my entire life for.
I 100% agree. Please continue. For everybody, the rest of this is going to be spoilerific. So
Spoilers. Like gangbusters. So basically it all starts off with this whole Batgirl side story, which is not in the book. I've had this book since I was about, I want to say like maybe 8 or 9 years old, maybe 7. I got it at the same time I got Batman Year 1. My mom did not know what was in this book, so she bought it for me. Also have the special edition. Much more a fan of this one because the coloring just looks a lot better in this one. They redid all the colors of the flashbacks and everything. It just looks all around better. But basically, Batgirl is Barbara Gordon this whole book. There's no reference to the fact that she's Batgirl, really. So to tack on this whole half hour of material at the beginning of the movie where she's Batgirl and she's chasing after this what was he, like a
Paris, France,
this thug, this young thug who's up and coming in the world of crime. Yeah, he's an amateur. He's a cocky amateur. And then talking to her gay man friend about boys and all that kind of stuff. It just really felt tacked on and stupid. Like, I didn't hate it at all. If it was its own Batgirl thing, it would have been awesome. But the fact that they tried to attach to the Killing Joke and swing in there just makes it pointless. She even says, because at the very end of the whole half-hour little thing with her, she retires. She quits being Batgirl because she can't handle it, and she got too close to the edge, and Batman don't want to screw her anymore, and all the weird stuff like that. She says herself, but none of that would matter about a week. Yes, none of that would matter, so why are we seeing it? It's not imperative to the story. It weakens her character, I feel, because she's all worried about boys. Like, Batgirl should not be worried about that.
Boys, boys, boys.
Right. I mean, like I said, all the Killing Joke stuff, everything after that was amazing. 10 out of 10, absolutely. But the Batgirl stuff just was pointless and took away from it, and it was added on there, I feel, only to stretch out the time of the movie, like the runtime, which I can kind of understand. But
even with that, it was it was 60 plus 20, so 80-minute runtime.
Yeah,
I mean, for a feature film in the theaters, an 80-minute runtime is really short. So
I mean, it's it's not much. So I mean,
it left us limp.
Right, but this was just going to be an animated, straight to DVD thing anyway. So even at 80 minutes, I think that would have been, even at an hour, that would have been fine. Like, I would have no problem with that. It's just the Batgirl stuff was tacked on. I know I keep going back to that phrase, but that's what it was. It was shoehorned in there, tacked on, whatever you want to call it, and done poorly. It could have been done better, and I would have loved it if it was its own separate story, and they didn't try to make it part of the Killing Joke, because it.
So would you have preferred, like for The Dark Knight Returns, they broke it into 2 movies.
Mm-hmm.
Would you have preferred there be like a 30-45 minute Killing Joke, and then maybe tack on another Batman story, like two distinct stories.
Yes, 110%.
See, okay, so here's what my thoughts building on that is that intro set the tone for this movie. The intro basically said, yeah, this is a Batman movie, but it's mature and it's darker than the other stuff that we've done. And this might be the only chance we get to cross that line. So let's put this in there and just kind of, set the tone and show that, like, this isn't your normal animated Batman feature. Because, right away, there was swearing, which, they set the tone. It was much more violent. It was,
let's talk about sex.
There's the sex scene. So
that's kind of my other thing I want to bring up about that is, like, when you have a sex scene between two characters that you're supposed to care about, and the entire
I almost stood up and started clapping.
The entire audience is fucking laughing. Like, you did something wrong. You screwed up horribly.
Well, I did tell a really funny joke during that scene, so they could have been laughing at my joke.
They weren't.
I didn't. What did you say? I didn't hear you.
When it wound up to the gargoyle and had that weird face, I was like, that's its O face. And Hopkins just completely lost it.
Okay. The whole sex scene was just, like, again, I don't really have any attachment to it. I could have done with or without it, but everybody in the crowd was laughing, and, like, that's a problem for me. You've done something wrong when you're trying to have a serious moment between two characters, and people can't keep their shit cool.
I think that more so, I would say that was more of a I don't know how to respond reaction, because it does kind of come out of nowhere. I will say that. So
it's just,
I don't know. I think, you could have had it without it, but I really feel that, like, that intro, that unnecessary intro that was told from the perspective of Batgirl was just, like, setting the whole mood. Like, I don't know.
I'm not saying I don't want, like, an intro or anything like that. Like, I get that. You can't just jump in page 1, it's raining, and Batman's at Arkham Asylum. I get that, but...
Well, you can, but...
You could, but a lot of people would be like, what?
They'd be like, what?
Yeah. They'd be like, what? But I don't know that it really, like... I respect that, but I can't say I honestly agree that it set the mood. Because it was pretty lighthearted and, like, fun. Not lighthearted, like, whoa, like, having a blast, but it was... Compared to the Killing Joke material, that was a good time. That was exciting and fun and, like...
Well, that's what she said in the beginning. She said there was a time when this superhero crime cape fighting or whatever was all fun and... that was the whole part of it.
But none of that would matter in a week.
Well,
so, I am now going to speak in defense of that, because I really like that beginning portion, and allow me to therapist you and analyze you.
Do it.
And now rapist you, if you will.
Do it.
But this is just my interpretation of this, so this could be totally wrong, and... This script was written by Brian Azzarello, who has been writing Dark Knight 3, which, what's his name? Frank Miller has his name on that too, but they've even said, I think Frank Miller even said, I, like, have input, and I think he bounces ideas off of him, but basically it's Brian Azzarello's story. So you got a guy who they pretty much... Outside of Snyder, who's kind of done with Batman writing at the moment, Azzarello's kind of their go-to guy. Now, the point of the beginning to me is a reflection of the Killing Joke for Batgirl. So you've got the Paris, France guy who even looks like the Joker. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of her Joker, and they even say at the one point Batman is looking at the computer screen and goes, how can two people who don't know each other hate each other so much? And it's kind of what I think he was trying to set up was a There's a bunch of times when Batman talks to Batgirl and he says, he's playing you, you can't trust him, all these things like that. That to me is, he knows how this guy's operating, but he can't take himself out of the moment to think clearly. I think that's also Azrael saying that same thing about Batman and the Joker.
Right.
That Batman doesn't know how to take himself out of that equation to correctly talk with him, which makes sense. Like when he goes to talk to the fake Joker at the scene where he's having, you and me, we got to do this and that. So I think that's a good way to prep that, because that's, to me, that's kind of what makes that click, is he's seeing that back and forth between them. Now, as far as the sex scene goes, I will agree with you that I don't think that it was handled the best. No. Because, like I said, it incited a laugh. Everyone got a laugh. It shouldn't have. It was totally I'm going to beat the hell out of you. Oh, this just became fetish. This just became hot. So they started doing it. I did not like later in the movie when Batman sees the same hookers that the Francis guy saw, and said that, basically implied that when Joker gets out, he has sex with prostitutes first.
Right.
And then they said, well, he didn't this time. That implies a big thing in The Killing Joke, which is they kind of set up that the Joker might have raped Barbara, but they kind of leave it open. To me, that's them confirming it, but I don't like the fact that they confirmed it, because you kind of already confirm it with when Batman and Barbara have sex, because that is a representation, because you go with the whole duality coin thing. To me, if the more artistic way would be to say that, well, since Batman had sex with her, the Joker's going to have sex with her also. Yep. So they had this passionate whatever thing. And obviously, the sex with the Joker would be, a case of rape or whatever.
Right.
Once again, very adult themes. So that, to me, I liked that. And then they have the whole thing where he tells her, you can't, he doesn't really care anymore. He's gone to the edge of the abyss, and she basically quits being Batgirl and says, well, I saw the abyss and I don't like it. I like how that sets up, because then it gets to the very end scene where the Joker's telling the final joke, and then him and Batman laugh together. It's kind of that culmination of the abyss. So that is kind of... I liked it. I felt that it all felt very connected. I felt that it mirrored each other, so it went over there. You would say, is it necessary? Would say no, it's not necessary. But I do feel that it was a good addition to the story. Kind of like one of those... I would put it... I haven't read it, but I would say, the kind of the Before Watchmen. You don't need Before Watchmen.
Right.
But if someone like gun to your head says, okay, I want something Before Watchmen, that is what that felt like. And to me, it kind of felt like a one-off annual issue of this. Said, okay, well, we'll... Because God, I'm sorry, I'm all over the place. But they just had the annual for the Dark Knight Returns in that universe, where they show what happens to Jason Todd.
Yep.
And once again, you don't really need that.
Right.
But I think Azarilla wrote that one too, by the way. I could be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. But they wrote that lead up. And that's what I felt like this was the lead up comic that they made for Batgirl coming up to The Killing Joke.
Right. And you may or may not hate me for this, Kyle, but I don't disagree with any of that. That is correct. All of it. But I feel it could have been handled better. I don't think we needed a half hour with Batgirl. And I would have liked more time showing how Batman feels about the situation, to kind of better reflect how he can't bring himself out of Joker's situation as well. because I feel like they focus so much on Batgirl that it kind of loses its way in a sense. And like I do agree with you, like I said, that it does show a good reflection. It's a good character development, but it should have been handled in less time or with a slightly different perspective shift.
Right, and then kind of the interesting thing to that, though, is, and I'm sure they ask themselves this, do you add to the beginning or do you alter the Killing Joke to make it longer? I prefer this because I think we got such a straightforward adaptation of that that I would have preferred this over that. And once again, it's one of those things where one is not right over the other.
Right, correct.
One is not better than... I don't think one is better over the other. I think if they would have
altered the Killing Joke, that would have made so many people mad.
And I agree with that,
because it's such an iconic graphic novel.
What they did was
You'd have to add literal gold to the story. You would have been like, oh my god, that's the most amazing in-depth Batman monologue ever.
And people would still hate it. Like, adding to the beginning is the only way you could have done anything.
It's the less easiest way to go without pissing off all the fanboys. It's just a point of contention for me, and maybe someday down the road my viewpoint will change. But as of right now, I feel like it could have been shorter, and with more focus on that dynamic of Batgirl can't bring herself out of this, but Batman also can't with the Joker. I was going to say something else.
Well, I think on top of that, they show Batgirl does bring herself out of it because she leaves.
Yep.
Batman kind of, by the way, talks about the abyss, and at the very end, Batman shows he can't get out of it.
Right. Yep.
There's no getting out of it, and also the end of I did not like how they handled the end. Not the Oracle stuff. The Oracle stuff was fine.
Yep.
They ended it to usually Batman's got his hands around the Joker's neck and they're laughing, and there's an implication that you can take it one way or the other, which is that they're just laughing together or that Batman is going to break his neck. And I don't know how you guys, but I felt very much so like they just ended it like they were laughing together.
I mean it's not really shown that he has his hands around his neck, though. It's just that. I mean, he's got his hands definitely
on him.
I mean, it showed in the movie.
He touched his chest. But there's no.
I would say it's very similar because he's not on the neck. If you really examine that,
and see, the thing of it is here though is what this allows you to implicate as you go on further what you want. So if you think Batman kills the Joker at the end here, which has been long disputed, it shows where he's got his hands down right in that chest neck area, and there's 4 more panels of the comic with Joker laughing and the sirens, and then Joker stops laughing in the last 3 panels. So that's where kind of the implication is that he might be dead.
And then in the movie they just had Batman keep laughing and Joker stop laughing. So
they just kind of fade out.
It gets more of an implication in the movie than it is the book.
Right.
Yeah. You can. I think it's one of those things where you can take it either way.
Yep.
Because I like the idea that he kills him.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, when the Killing Joke was written, it was not actually. This is the thing a lot of people don't know is that it wasn't meant to be canon.
Right.
It was a one-off story meant to just be that. And that was kind of Alan Moore's thing was that he wanted to get away with as much as he could. So he wanted to write the last Batman story.
Yep.
And I feel like that's what the implication is that he kills him.
Mm-hmm.
So when they would have in the movie, I guess I just want more verification of that.
Yeah.
But to me, it felt like they leaned more on the other side of they're just laughing together because of the situation.
I don't know, but Joker's Joker stopped laughing at the end and Batman kept laughing. I think that's more.
That's true.
I think that's more of an implication than the book. I think the movie had more implication just based on that fact.
I may have to see it again.
I feel though too like, making the animated short, you can't. Like, there may be implication there, but you cannot do that. You cannot have him kill Joker per se, because there's going to be more shorts, more animated series down the road.
Right.
So it's one of those things, and also, I mean, that's what makes Batman Batman. Like, he wants to, that's one of my favorite moments of like Under the Red Hood. Is I'm not a big fan of Under the Red Hood either. It was all right, but it was okay for me. But when he tells Jason that he wants to kill Joker, he's like, I want to kill him every single time. I want to, but I can't, because that would make me just as bad as him. That's why Batman gets to be the hero. Because he has that ability to not go that far. He has the ability to stay better than who he's fighting. So there's no right or wrong answer. There's no two ways about it. There's. But at the same time, I think as they were making the movie, that you kind of have to. It's unfortunate, but you kind of have to pick a side and say, okay, well, this is how it's going to happen in the movie, even though that's not how it may have been implied it happens in the book.
Yeah, and obviously, I felt this was canon to the Batman animated series universe.
Yep.
Obviously, it's not.
Right.
But it felt like in that universe because they used a lot of the same things. Let's jump to performances. Mark Hamill.
There is the one thing. There's was like, if I come over and do this podcast, and there's one thing I want to say, and it's this. Is this solidified to me that Mark Hamill is the Joker?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure there's people that have had the same thing before, but there's always is it Jack Nicholson, is it Heath Ledger, is it Mark Hamill, who is it?
Right.
Undisputed, there's no more arguing. Like, in my mind, Mark Hamill is the Joker.
He always said he wanted to do that, and I felt like he brought the performance
of
a lifetime.
Actually, what I want to say too is, out of all, like, this is his best Joker performance, like, period. Like, out of all the animated series stuff he did, all the movies, all the video games, like, this is the best performance of him as the Joker, and it's not even that different from the other stuff. It's more or less the same, but maybe it is the source material. It brings that extra element.
It just feels like he's on. Every single line was thought about. It was analyzed.
Yep.
And it was performed. There was times when I was listening to it and I was seeing what was happening on screen, and I went, the animation is not doing his performance justice.
Correct.
There was movements that he was doing and stuff like that, and I'm like, he is literally so good that this really great, and it's really good animation. That's not saying that they did a bad job whatsoever, because we watched a whole feature at the end of it where they showed the musical number, and they showed that's when Gordon goes through the Hall of Horrors or whatever it is, and that was amazing. There's so many amazing visuals in this movie, but there was just times when Mark Hamill is going, and I'm like, they can't keep up. That's all it is they cannot keep up to how good he is.
And love it or hate it, honestly, just see the movie just for Mark Hamill's performance. Like, that's reason enough alone to merit however much you pay to see this movie. Like, it's so good.
Conroy, no slouch, though.
Oh, yeah.
He did great, but let's be honest, it's the Joker's.
It's the Joker's story.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of those, I don't want to say Conroy did like a bad job or wasn't
he brought
up to snuff.
The witty Batman.
He's Conroy. He's stoic. He's the same throughout, because that's how he has to be. I mean, he brings it and it's great, but it's not that Mark Hamill level of performance.
And how about that voice he does as the pre-Joker? As that was to me, that was so good.
That's what I was really interested to see when we were driving to the theater. I was wondering if they were going to have Mark Hamill do the flashback stuff as well, and they did, and he was just Joker enough where you could tell it was like supposed to be the same guy, but it was not the same. It was his Batman performance, because Conroy was one of the first people to use two voices Batman and Bruce Wayne.
And the musical number, like, wow.
Yep.
Yeah.
That, I mean, if you've read reading the graphic novel and you get to the music number, I mean, you just kind of read it through. You don't really have that music in your head,
Right,
and now
right.
it just came
I've
to
always
life.
imagined what that was like when I was, reading this book, and
When he says fig, were you so not ready for fuck?
I was.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my god, and once again, his performance. Fig, and then you're like, oh,
Yep.
oh. Just amazing. And then the end joke about...
Oh, it was delivered so good.
This, like I said, everything, just 10. Every line
Spot on.
is a slam dunk. It's ridiculous. It really is.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
It's just not even fair.
It's
Like,
uncalled for.
yeah.
Honestly.
It shouldn't be that good.
I feel bad for anyone who's the future Joker because they should just somehow analyze Mark Hamill's voice and just digitally use it because no one will ever get better.
Correct.
You can't do it.
Like, and if you think about the other Joker performances, so let's go to Nicholson and we'll go to Ledger. At no point did I ever feel like nobody else is keeping up with them. Like, they're too good.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I
Right,
mean? Like,
right.
everyone else is in the movie, they're doing good. But like I said, with the animation, I felt like it. And
Yeah, well, because the animation is restrictive, and that's
right.
the
But-
interesting thing about Mark Hamill too. Is if you watched some of those older documentaries about him being Joker, and he said he always got flack and got kind of made fun of for it because when they were in the studio doing stuff for animated series, he was the only voice actor that would stand because he's like, I have to stand when I'm doing it because I get so
Animated.
embodied, like, and you could see when they were showing the music behind the madness or music set to madness documentary, whatever, like his performances, he does move around a lot. He's acting the Joker while he's voicing the Joker. So it's very difficult to animate that kind of thing because it's so.
It's also funny because the
Yeah.
last thing you see him in is the Star Wars. I mean, he doesn't have
Yeah.
any dialogue.
Doesn't
It's
have a
just
single
this,
line,
just this like guy, and then all of a sudden he just comes to life as the Joker. I mean, I don't know. It doesn't really. Just a weird correlation in my
Maybe we did
mind.
a nice little Joker impersonation in episode 8 when Skywalker finally loses it. He'll turn mad and
Yeah.
get just like the Joker.
All it takes is one bad day.
I'd watch that.
Freaking
Phenomenal.
amazing.
And I really liked with the animation. I mean, I've read the book at least 3-4 times, and there was parts in the movie that were like basically just screen caps. Like,
Yep.
hey, this is the panel. Like, I know this. It's
Yep.
so familiar, but it just came to life, and it was so good.
And there was minor changes.
Mm-hmm.
I think. Did they fight at the end? Did they fight in his?
No, that
Dream?
was added. I
was-
think the stuff with the bodies in the beginning was also added.
Mhm.
Like everything before he's at the asylum was added.
Yeah, because that's the beginning.
Yep.
But things are slightly changed, and I think they only change them in reference to the rest of the movie, and it works. So what little they did change, I think, is fine.
Yep. Absolutely. 100%.
Does nothing but adds to the narrative.
And it's just so refreshing to see. I mean, because now comic books you loved them as a kid and you grew up with Batman, Superman, but as adults, I mean, you can't just help but want that adult version of your childhood classics. I mean,
Right.
you want adult Power Rangers, you want adult, things you grew up with, and this gives it to you. I mean, you get the swearing, the more violent, like you want your comics to grow up with you, and this is a perfect example of that.
And the movie emotionally really takes you a lot of places.
Mm-hmm.
Like, when he's going through the carnival, I was like, God, they hate it. This is freaking dark.
Yep.
This is messed up. This is bad. And then the end, it's almost happy.
Yep.
It's so weird. It's like they're laughing together, and between the two of them, it's once again, sorry, I'm all over the place, but you definitely get the feeling that Batman knew how the Joker was going to answer the whole time.
Yep.
Because you can kind of interpret it however you want in the book, but in, just the way that Kevin Conroy says his lines, he offers his hand to the Joker, says, I can help you. You know, we can do this. And it definitely called back to the scene in the asylum.
Yep.
And it feels like his last call. It feels like his, I have to try. I have to, I'm giving this everything I have to offer him. And then, you know, he's like, oh. You know, the Joker's like, come on, bud. You know I can't do that.
Yep.
You know that's not how this is gonna happen. Just masterfully done.
And I'll definitely give props. Who's the name of the Batman voice?
Kevin Conroy.
I mean, like you said, he played Batman but the ending alone between those two was just so magical. I mean, he did Batman justice there. I mean, it couldn't have delivered it better. And
Batman's appearance in this film too was amazing.
Yeah.
He's got these really, really defined jawline and lips, and the ears are horn-like. It was perfect. It was perfect.
Well, the animation, music, performance, like this is a masterpiece. Like this is it.
Yeah.
It's gonna be hard pressed to find something as good as this.
And like I said, just to kind of roll it back a little bit, I don't think anyone here feels that the Batgirl stuff wasn't good.
No.
You shouldn't take that away.
No.
Because I was into it. I was like, this is a really amazing episode of the animated series.
Yes.
And that's how I felt. I was like back
great.
at home at my couch as a kid, like, cool, this is the animated series. Like, all I was missing was that awesome intro.
And what I really love too is the whole time it was happening, because I'm going to I was like, when's the Joker gonna show up? When's the Joker gonna show up?
That's what I was.
When's he gonna show up?
I thought that Paris guy, I was like, this isn't the Joker. Like, you know, I was like, is this like, because he kind of looks like him, like you said.
For a second I was gonna be like, oh god, don't tell me that's him, and then this is the other gonna.
But when you said that it's Batgirl's version of Joker, I was like, I can totally see that. I think that's what they were going for. So
yeah. So what that is you know, my take on that once more is that it is good. It's just misplaced.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it wasn't. I feel personally that it wasn't done well enough to be part of the Killing Joke. Even if you just had a separate title for it, like I'd totally take that. It's just like a lead in there, even call it the prologue, just like prologue. That happens, and you go into Killing Joke, like that's fine. But it's just that it was just a little bit misplaced and not as well handled as I would have liked.
Kind of off topic here. Do you think they would have been able to do justice had it not been animated? Because there's a certain stigma with animated movies, regardless of the source material, to where people are more inclined to not see animated features. And I mean, that's fine. Like, you know, whatever your opinions on that, just an opinion that I have. So do you think it would have been the same had it not been animated, or do you think the only way that this story could have been brought to cinema is animated?
I'm gonna go ahead and say animated, because if you do this in real life, it's gonna be really messed up. Like, it would, like, to see this stuff on the page is brutal enough. To see it animated is
really brutal.
Really brutal. But to have it like brought to life, that's not something I feel like I would. I'd like to see it, because I'm interested, but that's not something I feel like I would enjoy.
I'm a little weird.
Yeah, I don't think I'd enjoy seeing it. Like, that's just too much.
Be more shocking. Or...
Yep.
Number one, you would never get anyone to do Mark Hamill.
Correct.
So that'd be a big one right there, as far as an adaptation. And like I said, you'd get something close to like what you got with Batman versus Superman, in terms of they kind of did The Dark Knight Returns. They kind of took a piece from the death of Superman.
Yep.
Sorry, I wasn't doing spoilers, but anyways, if they did a theatrical version of this, you would not get such a faithful adaptation.
Right.
You would get you'd get a snippet of it. That would be part of the story. So they might tack on like the whole amusement park piece. That might go at the end of that. Might be your climax of the movie, like of a single Batman movie. But there'd be more stuff added. So if you didn't like how they added with the Batgirl stuff, they'd be adding they want that 2-hour runtime, or at least hour and a half, hour 45 minutes. So you'd be getting a lot more story. There'd have to be another story.
They'd have to essentially mix do 2 graphic novels in one.
Yeah. Like I said, unless they said we are going to do an insanely faithful adaptation, it's only going to be a half an hour to 45 minutes long. There's no way you could do a faithful live action adaptation.
Too many problems arise.
And with this one, if you really don't like the Batgirl stuff, you can literally start the movie at, a half hour or whatever in and just go with it.
Yeah.
It literally is. They did it so well that it's literally not needed.
Right.
Cool.
And I probably won't even do that. I'll watch Batgirl stuff, just make a sound or something like that. It's fun.
It's like
kind of have to pay attention.
It's the Divas match. It's got to be on in the background.
Yeah, you got to have it there just to have it there. But yeah, I mean, also too, I've said this to everybody that's bought this book. But if you ever get a chance to read the original Killing Joke, definitely do so, because just the way the coloration is different. They changed a few panels just minorly. Definitely check out the original, and then verse it against the recolor, the newly released one that came out a couple years back, because it changes a lot about the story too. Like, it changes the tone of a lot of things. Just simple little things like flashbacks and the way, like, right there. I'll just show you guys. It's gonna be hard to see. Like that page right there versus, say,
we'll lift it up here.
Yeah, we'll do what we can. Holy crap! Get past all this extra bonus crap. Jesus.
Do you think the sales of the Killing Joke are gonna go up?
The sales for the Killing Joke are always strong.
Yeah.
Like, anytime they release this thing, it's always like number 8, number 9 on the graphic novels.
Right. So, like, this page here, it'd be, like, say, kind of hard to see. We can do a bit close up if we want to, but
we will do a close up.
Yeah. So essentially, they just recolored it, and it makes all the difference because it looks so much colder and darker in the reedition or reissue than it does in the original.
I think I like the original. Like, seeing both of them. I know I borrowed probably.
I think I gave you both of them. I was like, read both of them.
You know what this feels to me? 80s.
Yep.
It feels 80s colorization.
Very much.
That hot neon kind of look to it.
But yeah, they changed a few panels too. Like that page too, you can see Joker's teeth in one, and then in the other you can't. It's just.
I definitely like the original coloring. So.
Yeah, so if you get the chance to check out the original and then compare it to the reissue, absolutely do it, because it's a world of difference.
And that's how you know that this was great, because we've got a person who liked the movie, would prefer it with the Batgirl stuff, a guy who liked the movie, could take or leave the Batgirl, and a guy who liked the movie but doesn't want the Batgirl stuff.
Right.
And then you got someone who I could be either way with the colorization.
Yep.
You like the new stuff, and then you like the old stuff. Yep. So it's really interesting that, one book, there's so many different opinions on it. I think that's all what they always say is the mark of great art, is that so many people can take so many different things from it. So.
Absolutely.
The best part about it is we all think it's 10
and
out
we
of
all
10.
still
we all agree that it's
we
great.
All still
it's
love
amazing.
it. Yeah. No matter what, it's good. Just it's good. Period.
Yeah. Anything else you guys would like to bring up, or
just watch it? I mean,
yeah.
If you're any form of Batman fans at all, I mean, just watch it.
I would say in closing, that if you're gonna watch this, please, kind of, not that I am a masterful film connoisseur or that I'm an amazing analyst, but there's definitely people in that theater that were not connecting the dots when they were watching that stuff. So if you go into the movie, just please. Once again, you don't have to like whatever you don't like, but please try and see what they're trying to do with it. Not just, I hate the Batgirl prologue stuff. They're just trying to do this.
Look at the big picture.
Look at the big picture. Look at what Azzarello is trying to do with it. And like I said, if you don't like it, that's fine. That's how it goes if you don't like it. But don't just... I think some people were there like, well... Batman had sex with Batgirl. I mean, it's kind of weird, but you know that's what happens in the beginning. Like, no, that's not what's going on.
Yeah.
You need to
It's definitely
You
one
need
of
to
those.
think and pay
Yeah,
attention.
you don't wanna just have it on as background. You got to sit down and just pay attention to it.
I have to make
Well-
one comment too about the guys that were sitting behind us, just because what one of them said was really funny to me. When the credits rolling at the end, and it came up with because they have to credit each song individually. So
Yep.
they had Mark Hamill's. They had the song he sings in the Madhouse in there. One of the guys said, "Oh man, Mark Hamill sang that too. That's hilarious." I was like, "You mean the guy that voiced the Joker sang the song that the Joker sings with his voice, and you find that funny?"
Maybe he's like a big Disney fan, because
Maybe.
they did that, because
Right.
Jonathan Taylor Thomas does not sing in The Lion King.
No, he does not.
I'm sorry, I know it's a big letdown for everybody.
Spoiler alert.
Spoilers,
Holy,
sorry. But yeah.
You probably want to also keep your kids away from this one unless you
Yes.
feel like explaining a lot of mature themes.
Yeah.
Well, see,
It is animated.
Like
it is Batman.
prostitutes
That's-
and rape.
What's kind of funny to me too is, like I said, I've had this book since I was like 7 or 8, and I've read through it multiple times. And I honestly, maybe I'm just that stupid or naive, but I did not understand most of it until I was like 13, 14. So I was like, "That's a really dark book," and I went back and read it again. I was like, "Oh, they're right. It is really bad."
Yeah.
Like,
Well, you have to be a certain age to,
To
appreciate
appreciate
yeah.
it fully.
I mean, I
to
think
feel something.
it's easier to take that stuff away from the cartoon stuff too. So definitely keep kids away from it. But if you want to give them the book, go ahead.
No one else endorses that.
I mean, if you wanna have those, I mean, you have to find some segue to talk to your kids
Yeah.
about mature themes. I mean, if you're gonna choose this movie to do it, by all means, like
That's the one.
that's your prerogative. But I mean, just
because
prepare yourself.
there will be nothing you will not have discussed after you watch that. So it's good. It's good.
Yeah.
It's all in one and done kind of deal. You talk about sex, violence, like just bad things.
Oh man.
Man.
Yeah. Just a lot of sex in this.
Yep.
It's crazy.
Also, if you're looking to see this, it's in theaters, running around the country right now. I think it's going to be on iTunes, like, probably by the time this video is up.
Probably.
Because it said in the theater, it said available on iTunes, like, tomorrow.
Yeah.
And this has been running around for a while now, so it's probably already up there. It's coming out to DVD and Blu-ray, like, within the first week of August, I believe, as well. So, if you don't get a chance to see it in theaters, go buy it and check it out.
You should see it in theaters though.
If you get the chance to, absolutely. It's well worth it.
It's an animated Batman in
for the
theaters.
sound alone.
The orchestral arrangement is just amazing.
Oh,
And Mark Hamill's voice.
And
Goodness.
Mark Hamill, yeah.
So
goodness.
You owe it to yourself to experience his performance the way it should be experienced.
in a theater.
In
Yep.
the theater.
Yep.
Support your local theater. Buy popcorn.
Support your local comic book shop, too. What's wrong with you guys?
Buy comics.
Yeah.
Support everything. Just buy everything.
Just do it.
Except North
Consumerism.
Korea.
Capitalist.
Buy local. Unless you're in North Korea.
Then import.
Well, I think if you
I
live
don't
in
think you
North
have a
Korea,
choice
you don't
then,
have
I
a
guess, so.
choice.
Make comic book shops great again.
There you go.
All right.
All right, well, that was all the thoughts, and that was our literal explosion of feelings
Yes.
and emotions, which we feel you will experience as well. So, Killing Joke, go see it.